Programming is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City designed to inspire natural and relaxed living with a dash of southern charm. The Sweet Bay community features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and much more. It's got all the makings of a friendly neighborhood with everything you need, just a short walk away. For more information about the Sweet Bay community, call 844-35-SWEET or go online to sweetbayfl.com.
This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College and the digital media program here. Today, Coach Powell and I will have an extended version of Coach's Corner. Coach Scoville was not able to be with us this morning, so Coach Powell and I are going to try to talk for the next 30 minutes. So welcome, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We've had a couple good weeks of preparation. We'll get to our first game here later, but since the last time that we met and discussed things, we've been moving forward. We've been progressing, so excited about the show today, excited about our final week of prep before our first game. So,
and we have to start off talking about the fish fry. Had fish fry Friday. If you've never been Commodore fans to the fish fry, you really miss it. This time, fried red snapper. It's just a great meal in addition to helping Commodore athletics.
It really is, and I'm very fond of many restaurants in our area, don't get me wrong. But the one time a year on a Friday afternoon for lunch that we have our fish fry, it's just so good. Special thanks, Greg Abrams at Tarpon Dock Seafood. He assists us with the fish, and I've known Greg for several years, and he's just so supportive and good in the community, and helps us out here at the college as well. We can't thank him enough. And then George Roberts at Hombre Golf Course, and also Roberts and Roberts Construction. He's been a friend for over 10 years and been supportive and always willing to help people. But they both have stepped up, and in order for us to enhance our program, they do a lot. And also part of it, a big part of what they do is our fish fry that raised several $1,000s for us last Friday. And so a big thanks to those guys and anybody that supports us that can help them. That would be great. And then also Cabin Creek, the company that owns that runs our school cafeteria. Jennifer Eastland and Jeff that do that here on campus. The things that they do to make it work, just unbelievable that we can have that support. Wes Morgan and Coca-Cola, just everyone together. Fried fish, cheese grits, hush puppy, baked beans, coleslaw, canned soda. For $10, that's hard to beat, especially when it was the fish was filleted and cleaned the night before. So very thankful to those people and all that they've done.
Now we need to talk about, Coach. It's one thing to have great fish, and red snapper that fresh was good. Who actually cooks the fish?
Oh, that's good. Greg and George both have professional setups. And they fry the fish and cook the hush puppies. To a guy like me, it's an amazing setup with the trailers that they have and the large fryers. I don't think you'd have those things unless you're a good-hearted guy that wanted to help people out. And Greg and George have both done that for us 4 or 5 years now. And so when you add that up, the amount that we've been able to raise each year over a 4 or 5 year period, just really good dudes. And so they cook the fish, and some of their buddies, some of the guys from Clay Davis and Mike from Greg's offices, and then Herschel and Jason from George's office, they come and they chip in, and just the way that they get all those seasonings and that mixture that right for the breading, God, it's good stuff.
So, and because the trailer's on a tandem axle trailer, they bring in to fry all this, and that's the reason I was bringing that up, because they back that thing in there and it's set up, and it's not like a deep fryer in your backyard that you and I would have.
No, this is not amateur hour. This is done on a grand scale.
And so and we talk a little bit about fundraising. We have the E-teams in the fundraising because it takes a lot of money to run an athletic program for men's basketball, for example.
No, that's exactly right. And there are all kinds of expenditures that don't come to mind when you think of athletics. I think we think of, okay, we need some basketballs, need some uniforms for games, stuff like that. But when you think about the cost of officials, you think about the cost of how are you going to get to the games. Once you get to a game, you start thinking about what are we going to do when we get there for pregame meal. And there on the screen, we have some great action from the fish fry. Those old boys, they know what they're doing, making us all proud there with their action. But, you know, there's so many expenditures. And another way that people can give back and assist us, God, look at all that good-looking fresh fish, is through e-teams. And you can get to that website off of our gcathletics.com website. And that goes into the general pot, just like the fish fry funds did, to help all across the board. It helps all 5 sports because there are those miscellaneous expenses, and the way that the world has changed. You know, on Instagram, I follow a couple of people back home in Kentucky, and there are 6th grade, 7th grade, middle school basketball teams, and I'm sure the same here in Bay County, that have Nike uniforms, you know, different sets of Nike shoes. And so in some ways, we want to be as efficient and respectful as we can of funds, but you would like for there to be a few things that separate the collegiate level from the middle school or high school level, and things that have become the norm in order to be a part of a team. And you can't do those things most of the time without money. And so every single dollar that people give to assist us, whether it be through the fish fry, the golf tournament, or e-teams, every dollar means a lot to us, and we're very appreciative of those.
And when you talk about that, they give Commodore fans some perspective. You were talking about AAU teams and other teams in middle school, and you've coached years high school. It costs us about $25,000 a year to run a varsity, junior varsity, high school basketball team. And you would go, well, wow, that's a lot of money. Considering that the schools and budgets the way they are, they wouldn't enough to even ride a school bus to every away game. But, you know, that just shows, you know, what it costs to do them for dressing and shoes. You know, we used to go up to your hometown and play at Marshall County and do things like that. So bus rides nowadays are expensive. Everything costs money to do.
That's very true, and we try to be good stewards of the school's money and the people and the money that people donate. We don't take anything for granted. We're going to treat our student athletes the right way and take care of them so that they can perform to the highest level on the court and on the fields. At the same time, you know, if there's anything that we can do without and still run the program in an efficient and run the program the correct way, then we do so. Whether it be bus travel, meals that we eat. You know, in a couple of weekends we're going to Barnesville, Georgia. We play on Friday night and on Saturday. It's a 6-hour bus drive. I think that most colleges, especially when you get to the 4-year level, they're going to go up the night before a game. I know when we were at Murray State, we always did that. In order to cut down on cost, we wake up Friday morning and we drive the 5 or 6 hours, and we get there and have game day practice and move on. And we go out to compete and to win. So there are little things that we can do at our level to be good stewards, like I said, of the money. But every cent and every time that somebody helps us out, we just we can't thank them enough.
No. And let's talk a little bit about the E-teams. They can actually go online and donate to any of the sports, because all of you have your web presence and an ability to raise money for that particular sport.
Yes, that is an option on E-teams. The overall, as people can see there on our website, the overall goal is to help all of the sports move forward and in a great direction. But yes, if your heart, you know, tends to lead to one sport or the other, then you can make those direct donations to a certain program. So
if you're watching on television, you can see that link. Our link's on Wellness is Athletics webpage, and you can go there and donate to one or all of them.
That's right.
So, and as you saw, if you were watching that, a lot of them said anonymous. They just made a contribution to it. So
It's pretty special.
So that shows the link. They're doing that. So we talked about that. Now, Coach, preseason ranked number 10 in the state coaches poll. That says a lot for what folks think you have this year. Got 11 players, 6-1 or better. Probably one of the bigger teams you've had in a while, right?
I would guess so. I haven't gone back to be able to say specifically on that and answer definitively, but we do have some good size. We have a little more depth in the front court than what we've had, and our perimeter players are bigger. Dyshane Murphy is only 5'10", but he's very quick, and we feel like he provides a lot of things and brings a lot of things to the table that we're going to need to be successful throughout the season. But yes, I think that when I look at our team compared to other teams that I've seen so far, our physical size, our athletic ability, our length, those are not going to be things that hinder us from being a great team. Now, definitely, you got to play together. You have skill sets, things like that. Health, eligibility, all kinds of things that play into your success during the season. But as far as going out, recruiting, getting the right size men, getting the right length men, getting the right athleticism of a group of men in order for us to make a great run this season, we've been able to do that.
So, and talking about your post play, I like the way they look. I've seen them practice a few times, but when they're thick and they got a little size to them in the post, it's gonna be a little different this year, of course.
Yes, Londale King last year played so hard and did so well, but a little undersized at 6'7", but super athletic, and Londale was built well and a fine player, and now he has this year plus 2 more, 3 years to play at Morehead State University. So we're very proud of Londale. But there were times last year that we kind of had no choice but to even slide Will Robinson at 6'5" down to the post. And I don't mean for a mismatch. I mean like we had to slide him down there because he was our post guy. So we don't anticipate having to do that as much this year. Non-conference, sometimes teams are a little smaller, and if they have a very versatile 6'5", 6'6" guy, sometimes that's tough on 6'11", 6'8" guys to defend that. So we might have to go small some in the non-conference season. But I like having 3 or 4 bodies with, like you said, good thickness, good athleticism. And it seems like the guys that maybe aren't quite as athletic of our post guys are very skilled and bring some good things to the table. So I'm excited about our front court, excited about our wings that I'm sure we'll talk about, and excited about our perimeter players too.
So now, talk a little bit about Wade. Wade is actually that's the third Wade to come through here.
Right. That's right. I've been able to develop a good relationship with the Wade boys over the years. Of course, I know this is my 11th year of being the head coach, and I believe 9 of the 11 years I've been here, I've had a Wade on the team. First with Jay, and then John, and of course now Josh doing so well for us. But it's fun, and it's exciting to see where it goes. Jay played, redshirted, and played 2 years. Now he's my barber, and a successful man that has a great family, and expanding his business. It seems like every few months to a year. So I'm really proud of kind of how he's turned out. And then John is playing professional basketball in Switzerland. Of course, John had a great time, a great career here for us. But then John also went to Norfolk State and was all MEAC, so all conference first team, second in their league for Player of the Year voting. And now he's playing professional basketball, which is a dream of every young man that goes to college to play. So proud for John, and Josh is on that same track of just being successful. Not to knock John and Jay, Josh is probably a little more mature. Maybe he, growing up was able to look up at his big brothers and figure out, some things. But all 3 of them just great young men. They come from great parents, Dr. Wade, Miss Wade. They reared those men right, and their little sister, what I know of her, reared her the right way as well. So it's been fun to coach them, and it'll kind of be sad, it's several months down the road on sophomore night when when Josh comes through, because that'll be the last time.
There's no more weights. And actually, I coached Jay City League and AAU ball years ago.
That would have been years ago, Coach. Yeah.
Years ago, and he played on my City League team, and he was growing so fast, and coordination in his body and all that was still trying to get there. But a tremendous young man. Like you said, the Wades are just tremendous people, and their kids are that way. They're good. I think Jay now's opened up in Dothan Mall and the Montgomery Mall, and he's just expanding and doing well. And
Right.
And if you're playing professional ball anywhere, you got to be proud of that. So,
Yeah.
But there'll come a day when you won't have any weights here.
I know, that'll be very different.
So that's going to be different. So now I've seen Smith. He's 6'8", nice thick body. He's going to be a new player to the Commodores. Let's talk about him a little bit.
Quadre was at Providence College as a freshman. Played some. They had some injuries. To get thrown into the action in the Big East as a freshman is not just real prevalent, but he did it and had some success, had a couple of nice games. He shed a bunch of weight, really focused and changed his body. At one point, I believe he was up to 360 pounds, and he's down to about 260 now. So Q can shoot the three. His low post moves, he's very smooth. He can get up and play around the rim. He's not a soar over people above the rim player, but he's not just stuck to the ground either for his size. And Q's pretty smart. Now he's an emotional player. He hates to lose. He gets fired up. And so there are some times, where I kind of have to look and say, Q, let's stay solid. Let's stay solid right now. But at the same time, we've talked about this for years. You'd rather have men that are emotional players that hate to lose, that want to compete. You'd much rather have men like that and kind of, calm them down a little bit when needed, as opposed to having the lackadaisical, laid-back, soft player that doesn't like to compete as much, that you're trying to, get blood out of a turnip, if you will. So I'm excited about Q's season. I think that he's focused and he really wants to have a big season for us and for our program and for himself.
And that was one of the reasons he stood out to me. He's kind of like a spark plug. Even in scrimmaging, when you were scrimmaging, he was playing like, this is a state championship we're playing in. Every minute he's on the floor, and he can be that spark plug. So sometimes you may need somebody on the floor to just tell the other guys, come on, we got to get up and move.
That's very true. And he's capable of doing that and has done that at times. To be an emotional leader, you have to play with emotion. You have to play with a chip on your shoulder. And Q's capable of doing that stuff. So like you said, I'm real excited about him, and I'm glad that we were able to recruit him and sign him to play here. Two other guys that have done great with that one is Josh Wade. He's been able to step up and be vocal and be a leader for us. And then also Miles McGregor. About a week and a half ago, Miles came and said, Coach, what do I need to work on? What do I need to do to make the team better, to make me better? And I said, well, Miles, I feel like you're progressing and working well in most aspects of the game. I said, but I know you're kind of a quiet man, but you could pick it up with the leadership vocally. And so he stepped that up and made a conscientious effort. You really respect it and appreciate it as a coach when young men are intentional, because that's not the norm. It's young men are not intentional about what they're doing by nature. And Miles has done that over the last week to week and a half. And so all three of those guys have some leadership qualities that I'm liking right now.
And now we have a 6'11" player. Oscar Okeke?
Yeah, Okeke.
Okay, all right. So he's 6'11". Can't coach size.
Yeah. You can't coach size. You can't really coach speed. Like you mentioned, and he's not just real thin. I mean, he's not a thick guy, but for 6'11", he's built pretty well. Played at St. Anthony's in New Jersey in high school, and from Nigeria originally, but has been in the States for a couple of years. Good student, good man. I think you might have been in the gym the other day. It was either you or Coach Scoville, had come through and were watching, and had just a big dunk on somebody. And the more that he plays, the more reps he gets on offense and defense, just the more he catches on. Early in the season, we would be doing things like 5-on-0 dummy offense, and that's probably 2017. You're probably not supposed to call it dummy offense, but you're just going through the motions, basically setting screens the right way, coming off shoulder to shoulder, but there's no defense out there. You're not calling anyone a dummy. And he would get twisted and turned around. Oscar would at times. But he's coming along. He's progressing. He's kept his head on straight. He hasn't gotten too low, too down. And I'm excited to see over a 2-year period with his body, with his height, and just some of the things that he does naturally. I'm excited to see what Oscar can do.
So anybody else we want to talk about before we take this next station break, Coach?
Well, I think that overall just the men have done well. Ben Eke, coming from Miami of Ohio, since we spoke about the 2 other guys that will play the low post for us, I'll bring him up too. Ben can block some shots. He has good athleticism to play above the rim. He has a really nice body, being 6'8", probably 230, 235. So all 3 of those guys give us good talent, good size, good ability. And I think that they're going to be able to form a rotation that allows us to be physical and tough in the paint.
So, all right, Commodore fans, we're going to take a 30-second break on the Commodore Sports Network.
Programming is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City designed to inspire natural and relaxed living with a dash of Southern charm. The Sweet Bay community features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and much more. It's got all the makings of a friendly neighborhood with everything you need, just a short walk away. For more information about the Sweet Bay community, call 844-35-SWEET or go online to sweetbayfl.com.
Welcome back, Commodore fans. Coach went off and played another set of scrimmage games, actually played some universities this time. Let's talk about those 2 games.
It was a very good day for us. I was excited about that. We loaded up in the vans and we went over to Niceville. Multiple reasons that was good. One, we played back-to-back full games with a shot clock. That gave us great experience. We were able to play on Northwest Florida State's home court. That was great experience. Then also we were able to play 2 universities. Life University out of Marietta, Georgia, who's picked to be number 2 in the Mid-South Conference, which is one of the best NAIA conferences in America. And then in the second game, we played Faulkner University out of Montgomery, Alabama. They're well coached, always run their stuff well. And so I knew playing them second would be ideal because we were going to have to, as good a job as Coach Atkins does at Life, I hadn't played one of his teams. But Coach Sanderson at Faulkner, with all of those sets, back-to-back games, just a 10-minute break in between them, how are we going to do at the end of that second game when we have to defend cross screen, down screen, flare screen, when we have to defend double high ball screens with a weak side pinned down and dumped to the post? How are we going to defend all of those things? Because it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of focus. And so look forward to that. We came out and we were a little flat. Maybe it's because we got out of the vans and just kind of went out there and had to play pretty quickly. Came out a little flat, but we ended up competing and doing pretty well. I think we lost by 8 points to Life, and then we lost by 6 points to Faulkner. So we were right there. And in the Faulkner game, we got up by 10 in the second half, and then I could just see us. Like I said, it was basically we had played about 35 straight minutes of basketball, and we just kind of hit a wall. The guys did, and all of a sudden we couldn't make our jump hooks that we always make. We weren't as quick sliding our feet, and some guys got to the rim and we had to foul them to finish that game against Faulkner. So I was pleased with our effort. I was pleased with our progress, and that's what scrimmages are for. We want to develop the habit of winning, but we want to see things that we need to work on. We want to see kind of where we stand against different styles of teams. And those 4-year schools at the NAIA level, I'm coaching mostly 18 to 20 or 21-year-olds, occasionally someone older, but that's what we are this year. And those NAIA schools are almost all 21 to 23 or 24-year-old men that are in their 4th or 5th year after redshirting, There were 2 men on Life's team that were in their 6th year. They go to college, redshirt, maybe play 2 years, transfer to Division II, get injured. Boom, they have a 4th year of eligibility left, but they've been out of high school for 6 years. And so there's just a difference playing against a grown man like that. And so very good for us to play some of those guys and get after it a little bit. And both of those schools have good coaches. And so that makes it good too, because we're having to defend different types of actions, and they know how to defend the different actions and different things that we're going to be doing. And so it's just overall a good day.
So and you got to take the men over and play in Northwest Florida. Mm-hmm. And that's an arena. And we have to go play there.
That's right.
2 times this year.
It's just a different setting. The other 4 gyms, I guess, since you use the word arena for them, I guess the other 4 schools have gyms, right? But the depth perception behind the backboards is different with the open end zones and seating back there. But we were able to scrimmage 3 games on the main court at Tallahassee. We've been able to scrimmage 2 games at Northwest Florida. We go Friday night to play at Pensacola, and in the first weekend of December, we'll go play 2 games in Mariana on their home court. So just like the teams come and play in the non-conference season in our gym, we want our men to be as acclimated as possible to the gyms that we're going to be playing in, when it counts in January and February.
So now, this Friday, you're going to play Southwest Tennessee College. Mm-hmm. In Pensacola, 5 o'clock. What do you expect from them?
They'll be very good. They would not be itching to come down to play Pensacola on Thursday night and us on Friday night unless they had a very good team, and then unless they were very confident. For those people that are a little older or have lived in the Mid-South up there, it used to be Shelby State Community College. Memphis, Tennessee is known for having great high school basketball, great athletes. I was up there in kind of a suburb of Memphis for a couple of years myself, coaching high school ball years ago. So they will be talented, they'll be tough, and they'll be athletic. We'll have to be really ready to play. I'll be able to drive over on Thursday night and scout and hopefully get us a good game plan and scouting report on some personnel together on Thursday night, so that when we come in for game day practice on Friday, we'll be able to prep and then boom, go play. But it's a coin toss, and we'll go, and the officials will throw it up, and we'll play, and we'll see what happens.
See what happens. Quickly, because we're about to talk through that 30 minutes. Preseason coaches poll: Northwest Florida State ranked number 1, Eastern Florida State number 2, Chipola number 3, Tallahassee number 4, Florida Southwestern 5. Tied for 6 is St. Pete and Palm Beach State. 8 is Central Florida. Daytona State is 9th, and Gulf Coast State College 10th. If we look at the preseason quickly on the national poll, Northwest Florida State ranked number 2, Eastern Florida State ranked number 5, Chipola number 11, Tallahassee 13th, Florida Southwestern 15. That's in the national poll, Coach. We're about to run out of time. We'll briefly let you know preseason rankings for the women's team. Lady Commodores preseason ranked number 1 in the state coaches poll and ranked number 1 in the NJCAA national poll. So for Coach Jay Powell, I'm James Baxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.